And hello, YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of The Zone TV Movie Entertainment with me, your host, Jonathan, once again bringing you my thoughts and review for the brand new Michael Bay, Jake Gyllenhaal, Yahya Abdul II, which I probably butchered that, and I apologize, and Elsa Gonzalez film, Ambulance. That's right, Michael Bay is back once again doing his big explosion film where he has big action scenes and yada, yada, yada. So, in this film, we have Jake Gyllenhaal and Yahya. They are basically brothers. Yahya being adopted, of course. And they grew up together, in the streets of LA. And as they got older, they, went their separate ways. Yahya decided he went into the military and he ended up having a family where now at this point in his life, his wife is having some illness problems. And he's desperate for money. The government won't help him out. He's a veteran, can't get help. He goes to his brother, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Jake Gyllenhaal is literally about to commit a bank robbery, the biggest heist he can think of that will give him enough fortune to move to Mexico and be happy forever after, whatever you want to call it. And then you have Elsa Gonzalez, who is basically this MAT. I don't know what they actually call them. The people the paramedic people, the people who work in the ambulances. I always thank for them service as well because they help out the community. Anyway, so she's just as she's like apparently the best paramedic person, and she doesn't really get attached to people. She helps people out, and then she's like, oh, they always say thank you, and she goes, you're welcome, and then she moves on to her next. Kind of like, she has to help out the next person. Well, in this situation, Jake Gyllenhaal, he decides, he's like, I'm going to rob this bank. I need you to come with me, brother. He decides, okay, I'll help you. I need money. I'm desperate. So they decide to go rob a bank, and they kind of get into a little snag where, how bank robbers are. They do the bank robbery. Something happens. Cops come. Then they basically are forced on the run. But this time, they get involved with Elsa Gonzalez's character because she's an MAT. She goes into the scene. And this is all in the trailer. They steal the ambulance. And then the movie begins. Okay. So, once again, Michael Bay is back as a director. Now, I personally like Michael Bay. He has a lot of good movies. Some of them are okay. Minus one Transformer movie I would never talk about again. Transformers 3. Excuse me. Hate that movie. But anyway, let's talk about this film. So, you have Michael Bay, and he did something very interesting in this film that I didn't think I've ever seen in anybody else's film. He takes a drone, I guess, and he did some pretty cool air shots with a drone, which is pretty cool, but, they kind of got to a point where it's a little bit over too much, but okay. But this movie, you know what? I'm gonna say this movie's okay. It's not the greatest film. The dialogue alone is like really cheesy, and it's kind of predictable, and also kind of like that doesn't happen. They're not like that. That would never work. Kind of situations, I mean, don't get me wrong. It has some cool moments in here where the ambulance is doing some weird things. You have in the trailer, Yahya is the one who's driving, which, okay, he's Black Manta, so, you know what? I can believe he could be a cool, driver. I mean, he should be, hanging out. Maybe this is his resume for Fast and Furious 11, I guess. I don't know. But he did some things here. I'm like, okay, you disbelieve me with the whole Speed movies back in the 90s when, Keanu and Sandra Bullock were driving a bus, 50 miles an hour or more because if it stopped, kaboom. But an ambulance, especially going that fast, come on. Against cop cars, kind of unbelievable. But anyway, there's also kind of the whole movie is basically them in the ambulance, running away from the cops. Elsa Gonzalez is there, and there's also a cop on board that ambulance. Something happened to the cop. I'm not going to explain what happens. I'll let you in to see the trailer. But they're trying to not only, help the cop, but also keep themselves from getting arrested by the police, who is chasing them. And you know what? This movie, like I said before, it's okay. It does have its cheesy dialogue. I do feel a little bit that this movie is a little bit way too long for itself. But I actually thought Jake Gyllenhaal and Yaya did a really good job in this film. They actually felt like they were playing back off of each other, and it felt cool. I thought Elsa Gonzalez was like the best part of the film. But, you know, the explosions here and there with the ambulance, what can you do? You know, it's one of those little 90s blockbusters are making a comeback kind of films where they're in this decade, but they should have been out like 90s. If this movie would have came out in the 90s, this movie would have been a big mega hit, so go figure. But unfortunately, it wasn't for the weekend. A certain Sonic the Hedgehog did that, so yeah. But you know what? Do I recommend giving it a watch? You know what? I say yeah. Just because if you don't want to watch Sonic the Hedgehog and you've seen Batman and you've seen Spider-Man already about 1 billion thousand times and there's nothing else to watch, if you want to just watch a nonsense movie about ambulances and explosions and Michael Bay doing his Michael Bay thing, give it a shot. Leave your expectations at the door. That's all I'm going to say, because when you watch this movie, you're going to be like this the whole time. Like, that's actually, did they actually did that? Did they actually say that kind of line? It's one of those films. But I still got a kick of it because it was ridiculous 90s cheesy action film for this day. And, you know, it's kind of goofy now to watch these kind of things. Like I said, if this was the 90s, this would totally be one of the best movies of the year. But since it's not the 90s, yeah, it doesn't work. But, I had fun with it. I thought it was okay. It's not going to win any awards. I mean, I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I like Yaya. I think they did a really good job. And I thought Elsa Gonzalez was good too. So, what can you do? You got this film. It's Michael Bay trying to come back to Hollywood. Hey, good for you, Michael Bay. As long as it's not Transformers, you're doing okay. But we'll see what your next project will be. But till then, we'll have to wait. So, leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about Ambulance. If you guys saw, are you guys interested in it? Is it in your radar? Leave me a comment below. Let me know. Thank you very much, and have a good day.